Today we will begin learning about inequalities. Please copy the standard benchmark indicator on a clean page in your math notebook. The student will graph inequalities on a number line. Writing inequalities. Another type of sentence used in algebra is called an inequality. An inequality is used when we don't know exactly what an expression is equal to. Instead of an equal sign, we use one of these symbols: greater than, less than or equal to, and greater than or equal to. As you can see, for the ones that are equal to, they have a line underneath it. So it's less than or equal to, or greater than or equal to if it has the line under the sign. So to write inequalities, you can see down here in the examples, a number less 5 is greater than 7. So that means any number, so we use a variable, we're using x in this case, minus 5, that's the less 5, is greater than 7. So x could be any number that makes that statement true. For the next one, we have a sum of 3 in a number is less than or equal to -9. So we have 3 plus x, which is our variable, and then you can see the less than or equal to symbol, and then the -9. Could also represent things like the distance to Philadelphia is less than 100 miles. We have x as our variable, and is less than 100. Finally, the last one, we have a number plus 3 is greater than or equal to 12. So, for x is representing our number that we don't know what it is, so it's our unknown quantity, plus 3, and then we have the greater than or equal to sign, and then the 12 on the other side. So in these, x, the variable, could be any number that makes that statement true. Example 1, a number minus 4 is greater than 2. The words a number tell us that we need a variable in our inequality, and that the result of this variable less 4 is more than 2. So we can write it like this. So n is our number, our variable, less 4 or minus 4 is our subtraction sign in the 4, and then greater than sign, and then 2. Example 2 has the sum of x and 5 is less than or equal to -2. So the word sum of gives us a clue that our inequality will involve addition. So we have x plus 5, which is our sum, is less than or equal to -2. So that's how we would write that inequality. So we're going to walk through a couple together here. When you're graphing an inequality, we graph them on these little number lines. And you can number it however you need to get your inequality in. Most of the ones we're working on can be numbered with 1. So if you see every dash mark means 1, they've just put the numbers down for every other one just so we could fit everything on the number line. So for this one, we have x is less than or equal to 0. When we have an equal to sign there, we're going to use a filled in dot to represent that. Because it's less than or equal to 0, we're going to put that dot at 0. Then we're going to draw an arrow to show which direction x could be. So it could be any of the numbers that are less than or equal to 0. So we're going to draw our arrow heading to the left. So we're going to draw a line all the way down to the end of the number line and put the arrow marks on the end of that. For our second one, we have x is greater than -1. So because it's not equal to, we're going to have an open dot. So it's going to be a circle that's not filled in. We're going to put it right over -1. Then, because x is any number that's greater than -1, we're going to draw our arrow heading to the right this time. So the arrow represents any of the numbers that x could be. For our third one, we have x is greater than or equal to -5. So again, because it's equal to, we're going to have a filled in dot, so we're going to color it in all the way. And x is greater than or equal to -5, so our arrow is going to head to the right. For our next one here, we have x is less than 5. So because it's not equal to, we're going to have an open dot, so it's not going to be filled in. We're going to put it over the 5. Then, because x is less than 5, we're going to have our arrow heading to the left. which shows us that x can be any number that's less than 5. This next one, we're going to take the graphs and write the inequality ourselves. So we're always going to use x as our variable here. So first thing we're going to do is write our x on the line. Next, we can see the dot is filled in, so we know it's going to be some sort equal to, either greater than or less than. We can see it's heading to the left, so we know it's going to be less than or equal to whatever number the dot's over, which is 0. For our second one here, again, we're going to have x, and we can tell that the dot is open, so it's not going to be equal to. We know it's just going to be greater than or less than. It's heading to the right, so that tells us it's greater than. And the dot, the circle, happens to be over -1. So if we put all those pieces together, we can see that x is greater than -1. For our third one here, we have a closed-in dot is shaded in all the way, so we know it's going to be an equal to. And we know it's going to the right, so we know it's going to be greater than or equal to. So we have x is greater than or equal to, in this case, -5, because that's where the dot is. For our fourth one here, we have an open circle, so we know it's going to be less than or greater than. And it's going to the left, our arrow is, so we know it's going to be less than. So x is less than. In this case, the circle is on top of 5, so x is less than 5. So when writing your inequalities, the things you have to look for is what direction is your arrow heading, or the number's getting bigger or smaller. Is the dot completely filled in, or is it open, and where is it located? Those three things will help you write your inequality. Please make sure you have all the work copied down and glue the pages in your math notebook.